All right. I will. Hold on. No. Okay, so I come from a family that is very much full of addiction, both on the alcohol side and the narcotic side. Pretty much everybody in my family is an addict except for my daughter, you know. So it kind of, you know, snuck up on me, you know. I knew at a young age that I was going to have some issues because I went through a lot of horrible and traumatic things. It started when I was about 5 years old. I started being sexually abused by my uncle. And I couldn't tell anybody because, of course, you know, like I was threatened, so I was scared. I was a child. I didn't know any better. I was abused for a good 5 years straight. And then my mom was working all the time. Neither one of my parents knew what was going on. My mom was working all the time. She was working 3 different jobs. And my dad was addicted to drugs. He was using drugs all the time. He was drinking all the time. So he had no clue what was going on either. I had a younger brother and a sister that I basically took care of. You know, I had to grow up really quick and be their parent pretty much. So I didn't have much of a childhood. My childhood was robbed from me, you know. But I did the best I could at the age I knew, you know, that I could. My parents divorced because my mom left my father at the age of 8. And that was even harder on me because she was the only one that was, you know, working and actively there when she could be, you know. My dad tried with the best he could at the time. But again, he was a struggling addict. Stayed a lot with my grandma and back and forth between my mom's house and my grandma's house. At 14, I decided I didn't want to live at home anymore, that I wanted a life of my own. So I ended up moving in with my grandparents, and you know, life was really good there for a little bit, you know. I felt like a sense of freedom I haven't had in a long time. And then my grandmother decided to let her son move in out of prison, which was my uncle. And my grandma didn't know, you know. Nobody in my family still knew at the age of 15. So I told my grandma I had to move out, and I finally told my family why. At this point, my dad was already in prison, and I had to tell my dad over the phone. So that was a really hard one for my dad to take. He got out of prison, and I had, since this time, went through more assaults, physical assaults. You know, I was smoking weed, you know, drinking, trying not to deal with my feelings. That was the only way I knew how. So at about 16, I met my kid's father. Actually, I met him at about 15, but at 16, I ended up getting married to my kid's father. And, you know, I rushed into that and did that because it was a way for me to be an adult. You know, it was a way for me to be on my own, and it felt like some sense of security to me, you know, some safety that I hadn't had in a long time. I ended up getting pregnant with my son, who's sitting right here. He's 20 now. And he's been my rock through a lot of this. Man. So I did good for about the first 2 years of his life. You know, I stayed clean through my whole pregnancy. And then when he was about 2 years old, I relapsed. And that went on for a good couple years. I was, getting into the harder stuff. At that point, I started using coke and I started using meth. And their father was an alcoholic. And when he drank, he wasn't very nice to me. He was always good with them, but wasn't very good with me. And so I'd get high so I wouldn't have to deal with the way I felt. Finally, he came to me at my work one day and he told me that if I didn't get clean and sober, that he was going to take my kids from me. So I got clean. I went to treatment, got clean. And when I got out, I went to my very first meeting of Narcotics Anonymous at the URS Club. The meeting was called Late Night. I met some really amazing people in that meeting. A few of them are here. And that was about 10 years ago. And I stayed in the program for, I'd say, a little over 3 years. I had a little over 3 years clean. And I got complacent. I didn't really do the work. I didn't do the step work. I didn't dig in my past. I didn't try and fix things. I just went to meetings and I looked for the wrong things. I looked for social acceptability. I looked for the in crowds, the popular ones, I wasn't looking to actually fix myself. And I started becoming complacent and didn't think I needed meetings anymore. And so I stopped going to meetings, and when I stopped going to meetings, I stopped talking to people in the program. And eventually, it led me to isolation again, and when I isolate, I get depressed, and when I get depressed, I have to deal with my feelings again, so I get loaded. So, a little after 3 years, I got loaded again, and this time my world fell apart. I was out for about 4.5 years this time. I was homeless. I lost my home. I had to give up guardianship of my children. That was like the hardest thing I ever had to do in my life. It was the best thing I ever could have done at the time, but it was the hardest thing I ever had to do in my life because I never wanted my kids to come from a broken home or deal with the same kind of trauma I dealt with. But life happens, and sometimes, we just have to go with the punches, right? So I ended up on the street for a while by myself, and I was in an abusive relationship. And the guy, hit me all the time, and I made excuses for him, and I hid things, and I stopped talking to my family, because if I saw my family, then I'd have to explain things. So I stopped talking to my family. People would reach out from recovery and ask me how I was doing, if I was ready to come back. And I would just give them the same bullshit line, like, I'm fine, I'm not using anymore, all that crap that we say when we're using. Then I ended up leaving that guy, and I felt completely alone and in despair and sad and broken. I didn't feel like I had a purpose anymore because I didn't have my children. So I didn't even feel like a mother anymore. So I tried to kill myself, and I took a bunch of Seroquel, enough to, as the doctors say, enough to kill 2 elephants, and I woke up with a headache. After that, I ended up getting into another relationship because somebody made me feel like, I was special and I didn't have to be alone anymore again. And, for the first year of that relationship, it was amazing. The guy was great. We were great friends. Everything was going good. We had even talked about getting clean a couple times, and we tried a couple times. I even came into the URS Club and tried to go to a couple meetings. And the sad thing is, when I walked into those meetings, I walked up to people that have known me for the last 10 years, and they asked me who I was. They didn't even know who I was. I was so sick, I was weak, my kidneys were shutting down, everything, I was dying. It was really bad. But I wanted to come back, and I knew that I needed to be here. I just couldn't get myself to come back and stay. So finally, the relationship started getting really bad again, started getting violent, and the drug use kept getting more and more severe and more heavy. And then it became that I was stealing, I was doing crimes, I was selling drugs. And one day I called off the relationship. I just said, I can't do this relationship anymore. We can be friends, but I can't do the relationship anymore. And he got really upset, and he, sorry you guys, it's hard. He couldn't handle that. And he's got issues, mental health issues himself, and he was using drugs at the same time too. Doesn't excuse what happened, but he's got issues as well. He ended up stabbing me 37 times and almost killing me. My fiance was there. He was one of the ones who opened up the door and found me. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here today. So I ended up going to the hospital by ambulance. They got a hold of my dad, thank God, because none of my family had talked to me in a very long time. They didn't even know where I was. My kids came up to the hospital and saw me, which was really hard for me to have happen, but I was so blessed and happy to be alive. You know, because I thought I wanted to die, but I really didn't want to die, you know. I just wanted help, and I wanted to come home. And I'm glad I'm home now. I ended up having like a 13-hour surgery to put my hands back together because my hands were completely mutilated. 3 centimeters in my neck and 3 more centimeters in my neck, and I would have been dead because I would have hit my main artery. But by the grace of God, I'm still sitting here today. Because of NA, I'm still sitting here today. I'm able to finally come to a point where I'm ready to completely forgive my ex for this. And it's been really hard, you know, it's been a short, long 2 years, you know, that this has happened. Tomorrow I'll celebrate 2 years clean and sober. But I couldn't have got here without Narcotics Anonymous. And I couldn't have got here without the people that continued to check on me when I was out there. Continued to show me that I was still important, I was wanted, I was needed, I was loved. And people loved me until I could love myself. Because honestly, I didn't love myself at all. You know, and just probably I'd say in the last year I've started to love myself. When I came back to Narcotics Anonymous, I didn't love myself. I didn't even know how to love myself. But this program has showed me how to love myself. This program has shown me how to love other people and how to treat other people. One of the important things to me is my character. You know, because my character says everything about who I am. And the way I present myself, I'm not only presenting myself, I'm presenting the people I hang out with. I'm presenting the program, you know, of Narcotics Anonymous. If I'm out there acting a fool, what am I saying about Narcotics Anonymous, you know? I do know that being in this program has really helped me because the fellowship is really important. Hold on. Yeah, the fellowship is very important. That's like one of the main things that's gotten me through this, is having people in my life that really, truly, genuinely care about me. I hold 2 secretary positions for 2 different meetings, and I think that's important for myself to do because I'm not only helping myself, but I'm helping other people. I share my story as much as I can in hopes that it will help save somebody else's life. So they were able to ask for help or maybe get out of a situation that they're in that they think they can't get out of. Because no matter what we go through, no matter how low we think of ourselves or that our life can't get any better, I'm living proof it can. Like, I never thought today, 2 years later after what happened to me and all the crap I've been through in my life, that I would be sitting here engaged, have a job, have a roof over my head, have a relationship with my daughter again, have my son and his girlfriend sitting with me at a meeting. Like, my best friend also that's here, my fiance just took a little over 18 months clean and sober. Like, he went and got clean too. Like, I'm super blessed, and I have a God in my life. My higher power is God. That's what I choose to say. I know some people get offended by that, but I'm sorry. That's what I choose. Without God in my life, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I know that anytime I'm alone, I'm never alone. He's always with me. He's always watching over me. He's always guiding me in the right direction. I'm super, super blessed to be here. Thank you for everybody. Thank you, Danny, for everything you've done, to make sure that this event still goes on. Becky, if she's still here, for everything that she's been doing, for activities, and everybody else that's a part of it. We all hold our own part in this program. Whether it's making coffee, whether it's pushing in chairs, whether it's, being a greeter, a secretary, going to area, everything that everybody does in this program is important. And the newcomer is the most important person at any meeting, because that person walking through the door for the first time, the things that we say and the things that we do could determine whether that person saves their life or not. Whether that person stays or whether that person walks out the door. So I just try to be really careful with the way I act and the way I present myself, because I know that that's really important today. I think I'm almost done. Let me just double check. Being as sick as our secrets. That is not a lie. You think that you can come to recovery and you can get clean and you can hold on to this secret or that secret and you're just going to be able to keep going, guiding along, like nothing's going to come back later. You're wrong. Like, honesty is key in this program. Honesty is key to your freedom, like, from all of it. Like, if you're ever going to be okay with yourself internally, you can't hold on to things from the past. You have to get it out and you have to work through it. You can't sweep it under the rug. And I try to stop pointing fingers at people. I take a look at myself and, look at how I treat other people and, what I do, what my actions may have caused in the situation. I can't always just blame other people for everything anymore. I trust in my God's will, not my own, because my own just does not lead me down any good paths, and that's obvious. And I work in faith, everything I do is by faith, not by sight. Because everything that's good that's happened in my life is definitely not things that I planned, not things that I could see, and I'm truly grateful for that. And I try to be humble, in everything, even the smallest thing. And I think, the biggest one. This is the one I still struggle with. And I probably will struggle with this one for a long time, I'm just being honest. What others say about me is not my business. Amen. I always thought it was so important that you had to be my friend. If you didn't like me, like, that was my mission, to make you like me. Today I don't care if you like me. And I don't have to like everybody here either, but I have to love everybody here, because we're all here for the same thing. We've all had our struggles, we've all had our traumas, we've all had our pain, and we're here to save our lives, So I love everybody that's here. I love everybody in the program. I don't have to like you, but I love you. And I'll do anything that I can to help anybody in this program. And Another thing I've noticed in recovery that's been a big thing that I keep trying to remember. You know, I used to blame God for everything. Like, why did this happen to me? Why did bad things happen to me? I'm so cursed, you know. But right before the keys are handed for our freedom in your life can become shaken to the core. Something really bad you have to go through right before you get to the good. Having events of unfair things and trauma can hurt us, make us resentful, and we carry this burden until we can forgive. This is the only way we are truly set free, and it truly is a process. So with that being said, I'm going to take another 24. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can someone please read just for today?
Just for today, maybe.
Oh, me? Again? How about you, babe? Yeah, you can read just for today. You can do it.
I don't know how to read English.
Yes, you do. You were so full of it. Christina, grateful recovering addict, and he does know how to read English. Just for today. Tell yourself, just for today, my thoughts will be on my recovery, living and enjoying life without the use of drugs. Just for today, I will have faith in someone in NA who believes in me and wants to help me in my recovery. Just for today, I will have a program, and I will try to follow it to the best of my ability. Just for today, through NA, I will try to get a better perspective on my life. Just for today, I will be unafraid. My thoughts will be on my new associations, people who are not using, and who have found a new way of life. So as long as I follow that way, I have nothing to fear.
Thanks, Christina.
Thank you. Love you.